Hi, I'm Chris Sugden, managing partner at Edison Partners and your host of Electrifying Growth. This is Sit Down with Sugden, where I share from my experiences as both the investor and an operator to help you get that next stage of growth.
Welcome to another edition of Sit Down with Sugden. I'm Chris Sugden, as you know, managing partner at Edison Partners. A topic that's come up a lot. Everybody seems to be talking about PE these days, whether you're an HVAC owner of a company and you're getting knocks on your door to be part of a roll-up strategy, you're a plumbing supply business, or as you know what Edison does, you're running a tech business, a software business, and it's time to consider a transaction. So as you think about, am I going out to sell the company or do a transaction, or doors knocking, kind of are people approaching me because they tell me I've got something they're interested in? Or am I really going to look now? I've got to a point where I want to do a transaction. I want to monetize some of what I've built. I want to find a partner. The idea that can you get yourself kind of prepared for that before? The answer is quite simply yes. People in our business love to get to know a business before you've hired a banker. Love to give you feedback if you're willing to hear it. There are some PE firms who are almost set up and they're more of the buyout, the bigger scale. If you don't hire a banker, they don't necessarily know what to do with you because they're just used to processes. Our firm's a little different, and there are firms like us. We love proprietary deal flow. We love getting to know you because someone from our team gave you a call, or you gave us a call or an email, and you're not ready to do a deal. You're like, I'm thinking about it. I'm 6 months, I'm a year, I'm maybe 2 years away. Sounds like a really crazy long sales cycle, right? If you're trying to grow a business. But in PE land and growth equity land, we are happy to work with you for a year. And to the extent you'll let us, I say work with you. We invite you to some of our events. We help you see what other scale looks like. We have what we call the Edison Edge, which we let you sort of tap into to get for free advice. Of course, our intent is that will end up paying off in a deal that gets done and works and scales and everyone's happy. I guess the point there is our industry, as it's matured, our industry being the PE and growth equity industry, as it's matured, bankers are both, there's a blessing and a curse. To all my investment banking friends that are listening, I'm sorry to refer to you as a curse, but we love PE and growth equity, love interacting with founders and management teams. You'll be told by a banker, don't let them get at that too soon because they'll find all the flaws or, they'll price in the deal when you have to go higher. I would take a little different approach. I would just say the theater of having to talk to 20, 50, 100, getting 5, 10, 15 LOIs to find the right price. It only takes one partner, one dance partner. It's sort of, for those out there who've sold, built a house, sold a house, done a real estate transaction, there is a bit of an adage. The first offer is the best offer. And that PE firm that actually spent the time getting to know you, investing in a relationship building activity, they're likely, if they still have conviction, if they're getting to know you for 6 months or 12 months, they're likely to have the best indication of what the business is worth. Could you get a better price? Could you get a higher valuation? Maybe. But do they know you as well as this firm that spent the time getting to know you does? And is that going to create surprises down the road? So I would think about the investment of time before you go out to do a transaction, getting to know a couple firms without a banker in between. And again, my investment banker friends out there will hate this advice. They think it's just self-serving because I'm trying to, get a deal straight up without them being in between. It's really not that. It's building the relationship. It's trust. What we don't do, I'll give you more of an Edison. We just won't lob in an LOI or an IOI where the banker says you don't get to meet management until, after we've decided if your IOI, indication of interest, LOI, letter of intent, fits a certain level. There are bankers who do that, and there are entrepreneurs who get their deals done that way. So I'm not telling you it's not right. I'm just telling you, we put so much stock in getting to know the founder, the CEO, even better the management team, but that's not always possible. And really understanding not only their motives, but can they scale? Why do you want to surprise after you've, kind of brought a few firms into an LOI or IOI stage? Finding out that firm that only saw your confidential information memorandum, your PowerPoint deck, and a banker kind of telling the story. In this day and age, there's less of that going on. Most of the time, I'll use as a rule, there's some access to the CEO, to the founder. There's less access to the full management team. And that's a little bit of the price of poker when you hire a banker. We understand that. But I would tell you the days of zero access to the CEO before an IOI or LOI, Those days are numbered and they're shrinking, I guess I should say. Hopefully that helps you all think about those knocks on the door are coming. What should I do to be prepared? I would tell you, if you're in a business that's growing and profitable, and I hate to give you very specifics because that there's an exception to every rule. You're north of 10 million, you're north of 20 million of revenue, you're north of a couple million of EBITDA. There are plenty of firms who want to talk to you. So in other words, getting on the phone with a PE firm just to kind of pitch your business, and you kind of ask them how they would work with you, how they would envision it. Again, two-way street. Very easy to do in today's day and age with the number of firms that have raised money. And let's say how institutionalized our business has become, from cottage industry to full-blown. There's PE, they'd say it everywhere. So let's talk a little bit about what should I do to, do a transaction. Forget about the question of, for a second, forget it, because we did it in a different episode. The idea of what's motivating me, what's creating my reason, but what should I do to be ready to do a transaction? What should I do to even do any kind of valuation or price discovery? I've said this a couple of times, and I'm sure I'll repeat it too many times. The investment bankers out there will hate me, but remember, their job is to tell you whatever it takes, investment bankers, to get the mandate, to win you as a client. Another way to say that, and some in this industry would say this, all bankers lie or white lie to tell you what your business is worth, because by telling you a low number is not going to win the day. So understand the banker's motivation. They win the mandate, sign you up as a client. How do they do that? Tell you your baby is the prettiest, the most valuable thing they've ever seen. And you get excited because you're being told that. So number one, just understand motivations. Number two, do I hire an investment banker right away, or do I go and gather PE firm feedback without necessarily doing that? I get it. In some regions of the country, in some industries, it's harder to do that. But I will just tell you, based on the availability of websites, Zoom, LinkedIn, you can get to PE firms. And again, I'll tell you, if you have a good business, growing, profitable, PE firms want to talk to you. Make sure you do a little bit of homework. Are they tech only? Am I not a tech business? Are they business services only? Are they home services only? I'm not any of those. So at least do a little homework. I know that sounds so elementary, but if you ping an Edison Partners team member, you're a software as a service business in a vertical industry, and we talk about which ones we invest in on our website, you're 10 million growing to 15, you're 15 growing to 20, you're a couple $1 million of EBITDA. If my team members and teammates don't pick up the phone and call you right back with that email that's coming in, hey, I'm about this size. Hey, I'm growing this fast. You got to give us enough. But the point is, we love that. And you don't need to be doing a transaction today to get our feedback, to get our advice, to see how we act on a call. My point of all that is, step one is not necessarily hire a banker, and it may not be step 2 or 3 either. And there are plenty of great bankers out there that truly are advisors. So please don't get me wrong. If I'm sounding like I'm bashing on the investment banking industry, I'm not. Just understand, they have mission 1 is land the mandate, win the client. Mission 2 is get a deal done, because they get paid to get a deal done. There are plenty of people out there now, if you're in a more traditional business industry, business brokers, should I pay a fee to get the banker going? Really good investment banks, yes, they want a retainer to make sure you really got skin in the game, but it's not this ongoing forever retainer. And it's a small percentage of the total dollars they should get when they're successful selling your business, when your business is successfully being sold. So the other parting shot, which maybe sounds too much like banker advice versus what should I do before I get ready to sell my business, understand the banker also not only has 2 motivation, win you as a client, and motivation 2, get the deal done, to get a commission on the transaction being completed. But they have another mission. Who do they sell businesses to? People like Edison, people that are in the PE business. So understand, the bankers have all kinds of conflicts of interest. There are great bankers, but just really make sure you understand that the dynamic is they're in the business to make money too. And so to me, the best way to hire bankers after you've gotten some market feedback, you built a couple of relationships, you have a couple of people who've given you feedback, you've taken a little bit of feedback, and then you're feeling like, I got to see a bit more of the market. I've got to have someone play bad cop to my good cop. I've got to have a little bit of the negotiation kind of dynamic going on. I get all that. We all get all that. And like I said earlier, some firms are actually not even well built to deal with a non-bank deal. Like they might think something's wrong with you. So don't get me wrong. If you think I'm saying don't hire a banker, no, no, no. What I'm saying is there's a time and a place, and of course, a which one. But understand the range a banker will tell you your business is worth, more often than not, that's probably a bit inflated because if they tell you a number that's too low, you're not going to hire them. Just keep that in mind. Again, great bankers, great advisors, but the tendency will be to give you a wider range or a bigger number just to make sure you're excited about hiring them. As we kind of think about, kind of some closing parting shots on both preparation, what should I do before I go out to sell my business, and what's motivating me to even think about a transaction. Think about the sort of, am I ready to take this from this is my baby to this is our baby, but the PE firm is going to be thinking about it not so much as a baby, as something they've put their blood, sweat, and tears into, but as a way to make money for their limited partners. So a very commercial transaction. And yes, including hopefully Edison, we should be showing as much passion about your industry and your company as you do. And we should match that intensity with how we're going to help you grow your business for sure. But just know once you get into post deal, the deal's closed and now it's time to go make everyone the money we expect to make for our limited partners. The trade is it's time to kind of get to work and make sure all decisions are commercial in nature. They've got a return on investment, if you will. And that's not to say you shouldn't care about your people. That's not to say we VCs are all, evil, fire everybody, get the EBITDA up by cutting. Remember, I've decided this a couple of times, private equity and growth equity aren't exactly the same. Growth equity is a subsegment of private equity. Private equity is another subsegment that's only buyout. And there are people who like to reduce expenses, make the business more efficient, less of a growth thesis and more of a profitability thesis. The answer to that is, what is your business today and what do you want it to be? In other words, if you're not a growing business, that's a different trade, right? It's a different value proposition. So understanding, are you going to position yourself as a growth thesis or as a profitability thesis is also really critical as you think about kind of moving from, this is my turn from a dream to this little baby to now I'm getting to the adolescent, et cetera. That just like children, to those who are parents out there, the stages of life change and they change pretty quickly post-transaction.
Thank you for joining this episode of Electrifying Growth. For more resources, inspiration, and a look inside the Edison Partners Network, sign up for our newsletter at www.edisonpartners.com. Click on the Stay in the Know button in the top right corner of our webpage. Thank you again.